Welcome back. We're here with Jeremy Slate. He's a podcaster, founder of the Create Your Own Life podcast, which studies the highest performers in the world. He's had some amazing interviews on his podcast. Make sure you check it out. He's also got a book coming out here right at the first of the year, so be watching for that as well. But Jeremy, you and I have been talking about kind of building your presence, building yourself as an influencer, establishing your position, and where does the customer go, and how do we capture them and keep them? So you mentioned a word that was really, really important here, and that is trust. They come across you every now and then. You're like, hey, what's up with the customer? I had these people show up on my podcast or something, but I didn't gather any emails or I didn't gather any information. How do we build that trust? Give us kind of a flyover what your perspective is on that.
Well, I think the first thing is actually let's talk about the problem, right? I've had so many people come to me and they say, okay, so I need some help with reputation management now. We're on the first page. Our first result on Google is a ripoff report. And you're like, wow, well, you started entirely too late in this process. I think so many times people don't do PR actions or kind of skip them until something goes wrong. And you really want to be building these all along. And whether that could be community events, whether that could be different charities you're working with, whether it's the media that you're doing, but this should be an action that you do each and every day, each and every month, new business awards, Inc. 5000, whatever it is, you should be doing these things all the time. I find too often business owners wait until there's a problem, and then those things are really hard or really expensive to get because you have a problem. So I think first and foremost, it's getting that out of your head. Okay, I'm only going to do this when something goes wrong.
This is a lot of what our entrepreneurs go through on a daily basis, or all entrepreneurs go through on a daily basis. And really, if you're running a business, you should be thinking about these things. I'm CEO of a public company, and I think about these things every day, and I know our single operator business owners do. But the first thing you said, you used the phrase all the time. And I think that's incredibly important because people swoop in thinking they can show up, do the deal, and boogie on out of there. And that's a bunch of BS in my mind. That's not a relationship. That's a transaction. People don't want transactions now. They want relationships, and they want to exchange product and service during that relationship. So something we've been pushing, Jeremy, is, I love this phrase. I want to share it with you. Presence creates trust. Presence creates trust. Because you don't get to do the deal without the trust you said.
So I think that's first and foremost is you have to, and this has happened in the business world, I think in the last 15 years especially, is there's this shift on companies realizing they have to be valuable in the eyes of their consumer because it is super competitive right now. You can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I think it's 5,000 messages someone sees a day. So why are they going to remember yours? Too many people look at what is even exchange. You want to over-deliver in every exchange that you're doing because you're not just creating trust, but you're creating more affinity for the people you're talking to. And I think that's where it's really at because then they're willing to tell other people about you. And when you create evangelists for your brand and your consumer, that's a big deal. Your customer service should not make your potential consumer hate you more. That's not the purpose of this. You need to look at every customer service thing as a potential chance to have a win. We've run into challenges with customers, and that's actually created a better opportunity for us to serve them. And that's really how you have to look at it, right? When you've left a review for something, how many times is it because you're angry, right? People are less motivated to leave a review when they're happy. So you really have to think about people that have used your service or experienced your service. At some point in time, they're going to talk about you and you want it to be positive.
What's the easiest way for us to, one, come up with somebody's challenge that we're going to overcome, and two, talk about it in a very simple way that doesn't take up our entire day?
Well, this is super simple. It's, hopefully you have some customers. So if you do, talk to them, see why they work with you, see why they like you, see what challenge they're trying to solve. Surveys are the biggest thing to figuring out how you can solve a problem. I find too many people, they put out a product or they put out a solution, they put out anything, and they don't even know what people want. You have to find out what's needed and wanted first before you're going to do that. So surveying first is vital. The other thing as well is looking at, okay, well, what part of that can I do now? There's I don't even know how many social media platforms out there now. There's a new one every day. Like seriously, I saw a press release this morning. There's somebody else putting out another social media platform. Like, seriously? So like find the one that you can confront and the one that you know your audience is on. I know for us, we do extremely well on LinkedIn. So yeah, I'm on the other platforms. Like I've got the blue check mark on Twitter and Facebook, but like I spend most of my time on LinkedIn because that's where my audience is. So you want to find out what works for you, where your audience is, and talk to them there. Just ask them what their challenges are and how you can help.
Jeremy, you've dropped a lot of bombs here. This is amazing. A lot of great content. Can you package this up real quick for us in just a couple minutes and say, everybody, when you hang up this podcast, when you hit, when it's after you hear producer Mark rolling through, go do this. What can we tell them?
Well, the first thing is find out what's already out there, because I think that's where people already mess up, is they try to put their ideas out there. And I did this the first time. Like the first version of my podcast was called Rock Your Life. Somebody already had it, and it was trademark, which means I couldn't do it. So you want to find out what's already out there, then find out how you're different from that, and find out who the influencers in that space are so you know where your listeners are. The other thing then would be to really figure out, okay, what is the content platform I'm going to focus on? Is it a podcast? Is it YouTube? Is it Twitter? Is it Facebook? Whatever it is, focus on one platform. And then I would say, I find interviews, whether they're in written form or whether they're in verbal or video like we're doing now, is the best way to connect with people because it establishes networking and also positioning. So interview people in your niche. So figure out what's out there, differentiate, pick a platform, find out who the influencers are, interview them, then get yourself interviewed. Like that is going to be the biggest thing to really getting out there and getting seen and known and heard and trusted.
Perfect. Great information. Jeremy Slate, founder of the Create Your Own Life podcast, on a 2-part series here. Thanks for all of this amazing marketing and sales information, man. And I do have a question for you that I ask every guest on the show. Our listeners love to hear this. Jeremy, how do you start your day with a win?
So I take a cold shower every morning, and when I get through it, I'm like, man, I did it today. The hardest one I ever took is on a ski trip up in Lake Placid. I've never felt water that cold before in my entire life. So I start every morning with a cold shower, and it has a few benefits, man. It wakes you up more than you've ever been woken up before is one of them. But it also supports your immune system. It supports fat loss because it actually works on the thermogenic fat in your body to make it burn other fat. So it's a really good thing. Good way to start the day. And if you can do that, man, you'd be surprised what things you can do after that.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate you being on the show. And you got a baby coming here real soon. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And thanks for starting your day with a win.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, thank you, Jeremy. And I'm sure we could do a whole nother podcast on health and fitness. Captain Powerlifter over here. Hey, and thank you for listening to Start With a Win. If you'd like to ask Adam a question or potentially tell us your Start With a Win story, leave us a message at 888-581-4430. Don't forget to go onto iTunes and subscribe, write a review, and rate the show. It helps us get the word out and reach more people. For more great content, head over to startwithawin.com. And follow Adam on pretty much wherever you get your content. He's there. And until next time, remember, start with a win.
There you go, the old Saturday Night Live
Yeah,
dance.
that's right.
Yeah. That's funny.
Which has kind of really come full circle because I've noticed that restaurants, their outside is inside and their inside is outside now.
That's it. Put the garage doors there.
That's right. We have all these restaurants around us that have their inside outside in the parking lot. And I'm like, this is right from
wild,
man. Yeah, exactly. Jeremy, hey, I had a couple questions for you. One is, you said you have a pig. So are you anti-bacon or are you still enjoying the fruit of the gods?
I eat bacon every morning, man. Come on now. Bacon's what makes life. Bacon and peanut butter are what makes life better. Like, thank God I'm not allergic.
You're looking out the window, snacking on a piece of bacon.
My wife
to the
got
pig.
mad at me one time because when he still lived in the house, he's like, he gets into trouble. So he figured out, like, our pig figured out how to climb up my cabinets. And Brielle goes, oh, where's the bacon you laid out for breakfast? It was cooling. I'm like, you didn't eat it? She's like, the pig ate it. She's like, no, the pig ate bacon. That's horrible. That's horrible.
Well, hey, if you've stuck around this long, that means that you are here at the after show and you're watching us on YouTube. Thanks so much for participating and being here. If you like this content, give us that thumbs up. It pushes the video up on the algorithm. And if you're not subscribed to the show, go ahead and subscribe and then click that little bell icon, and then you'll get notified every single time another Start With Win episode gets released. And so thank you. And until next time, we'll see you when we see you.